Lead and Be Legendary presents A Name Tag is Necessary.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of A Name Tag is Necessary. I'm Nametag Alexander. Make sure y'all tap the link in the description of the episode because we do have new merch available at the Lead and Be Legendary store. So make sure you tap that link, do a little bit of shopping. I think the prices start at like $20, under $20 or something along those lines. Just double check. Make sure y'all cop. For Namesake Volume 2 is out. Now, I don't want to say Volume 2. We're just going to say For Namesake 2 is out. Shout out to the homie Nameless. We're going to get right into it, though. Episode has pretty much been long overdue. I had this one on my list of guests that I wanted to have on the show. And it really reminded me once you guys dropped the album, man. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be time, man. But we got, welcome back, Hir-O. Even though this is the first time. This is the first time. I love the tag, man. I really do, man. I was like, damn, that shit is dope, dog. So
appreciate that, bro.
Let's talk about that. How did that tag come about? Your producer tag.
That's a long story, bro. It's actually not that long of a story. It's a story that has long roots. So that is the voice of, believe it or not, my high school girlfriend.
Wow.
Jordan King, who went on to become like a working actor.
Yeah.
So like she obviously has an amazing voice, and I recorded, and this is for like the Hir-O like OG like day ones who remember like the very first joint I put out, the Voyage Home. The Welcome Back Hir-O is a clip from the intro to that record. Where, I'm big into science fiction, and Star Trek has always been a really big influence for me. So what that is the ship's computer. If you've ever seen Star Trek, they will they'll talk to the computer, right? They'll say, computer, initiate warp, engage or whatever, right? So they talk to the computer. The computer has a voice, and it will talk back. It'll respond. So the kind of a skit for the intro to the record was me walking onto my spaceship, and that is the ship's computer greeting me. Welcome back, Hir-O. Welcome back to you.
Man, that shit is so damn dope, dog. Because I didn't know, I'm like, where did he get that from? But now that knowing it was actually it wasn't from it. Man, that's fire, man. I appreciate it even more now.
Of course, bro. And unfortunately, that music is not on streaming. So I've been kind of working. I've been deciding whether or not I wanted to like kind of remaster some of it, because it's from way before I knew like actually how to mix and master. So it's just it's junky. It's creatively really, really dope. But like you could tell I'm young and I don't know what I'm doing. But I've been thinking whether or not I should kind of remaster some of that stuff just so people can have access to it, because it's like it's more than just Welcome Back Hir-O. I think I don't remember the whole thing. It goes on for like a minute, but it's like Welcome Back Hir-O. The stars await you. And then it's like a starship starting up. So the computer says things, or Jordan in the voice of the computer says like, warp core is online, inertial dampeners are stable, initiating warp factor 1, and then
man, what? So it's a whole you said it's deeply rooted.
Yeah, I'll send it. Wow. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you when we're done here. It's fire,
man. Because I remember I heard that, like, to me, like, certain producers have those tags that just are, to me, just historical, and it's like you got Just Blaze, like everybody Just Blaze, so it's be certain ones, and then that one I remember it just caught me when I first heard. I'm like, yo, what is that?
You know what, bro? How it started? This actually because you were around back then. I don't know if you went on this trip with us, or I know you didn't go with us, but you might have been down there at the time. I didn't intentionally use it as a tag at first. Like it was that snippet from the beginning of the record, and then we went to South by Southwest in 2010. We went to South by 2010 and 2011 and 2012, I think. But I had a little beat sample. You know how South by was back then. Like niggas was just trying to get on, bro. Can I swear on here? I'm sorry.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, yeah, hell yeah. No, I'm just kidding. So we were just trying to get on however we could. So I had a beat sampler CD, and I didn't know anything about copyrights or nothing back then. So I needed to put a tag on there just so cats knew it was mine.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me just use that first part of the joint for my intro, and I just chopped that. Welcome back, Hir-O. And then from there, it was initially made just for South by Southwest, but people started counting. Yo, that shit sound fire, bro. That's a code.
It does, man.
And then so I just kept it in. I just kept using it. It became a signature from there.
So Nav had an album, and now I'm talking about Noveliss for those of y'all listening. Cerebral Apex.
Yep.
You had some joints on there, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I had the intro.
I remember one time when I remember when it dropped. Now, like, this cover art just looked dope, and I'm about to listen off the strength of that. I know what Noveliss can do. You know, shout out to Noveliss. I'm like, I gotta listen to this. And it was just a story, dog. It was like a movie. Yes. And I remember, dog, I had left work, got off work early, I believe. And I remember, I'm trying to remember, was it in the summer? I know I was sitting in my car, and I just was listening to it. And I'm gonna skim through for a second. I'm gonna go listen to it later so I could really get. No, I sat right there and just was like, "Hey man, what is this story, dog?" Like just, and it just I remembered like partially remember the intro, but I remember like just the sound. I was like, man, I'm like, yo, Hir-O's sound is like, and it's funny because it's explained that way in your bio. I was like, it's like I can't really. It's like soul, but it's like electronic. Yeah, and this before I even knew you was a Daft Punk fan, and I thought that I was just thinking I'm like, dog, man, like what is his style? But I'm like, dog, I know I like it. I like it for sure.
Respect.
And I talk to people about this all the time. Real quick, like when I talk about like I got certain favorite like producers from the city, right? And no order, of course. Black Milk off top, that's fam. Black Beethoven, that's fam. I gotta throw as a collective Creative Notes in there. They're real well, like more soulful, like Boom Bap. That's a collective with DJ DDT, J Quest, Snook Grand, and also Travis Sling. So yeah, man, them Black Milk, Beethoven, Creative Notes. I would say Illingsworth. Come on, we know what that man can do.
Let's go.
I gotta throw you in there, dog, just because I think about like who would I, as far as who would I get beats from, and Peace of Mind, of course.
Oh man, yes.
And then also like Nameless is Flint, but he's worked with enough Detroit artists to where by default, you know what I'm saying? And Nameless, dog, you know what I mean? So it's like y'all all got sounds where I'm like, I work with them. I'll rhyme on that. I'll rhyme, you know what I'm saying? So, and definitely, how can I leave him out? Elijah Day, man. Like I can't, man. Yeah, like, so yeah, man. The list can go on, but just off top, like those are some of the ones. And I would throw Apollo Brown in the mix. The list can go on. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta acknowledge that album because that was the first where I really like sat down because it was a lot of stuff I probably had. Just become a father not too long ago off of that. Congrats, and then just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because my daughter's 12 now, you know what I'm saying? So back then, like I missed, I knew no more babies. But I'm saying like, just thinking about, I had missed out, when father first come about, you're not really as engulfed and catching everything. Your focus is elsewhere. Right. So I remember like maybe around like by the time she probably turned like maybe 3 or 4, that's when I started getting a little bit more involved in listening to it. Like I was on the scene, like even when she was the newborn and everything, but like I'm talking about like really just being able to sit back and appreciate the projects from others. So maybe around like 3 or 4, I started doing that. And I just remember like that particular project, I'm like, yo, like this is something special. Fast forward, y'all done more work since then. But this one was the first one, Cyberpunk Rhapsody, where this was the entire project was you and Nav, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Man, listen, dog. I think I was cleaning the house one day. I probably might have been vacuuming. I said, well, let me throw this on. I had the earbuds in and everything. I'm like, oh, they on some shit. I was like, they on some shit, man. Yeah, man.
For sure, bro. I appreciate that, man. That was Nav, that's my guy, bro. That's my brother.
Yeah.
We really, I mean, it goes beyond just the music. Like that's like, that's like fam for real. So the musical creative connection was really easy. And up until that point, you know, I worked with him on a lot of different stuff before. Cerebral Apex, Sword of Nature, which was also exclusively produced by me. But the difference here was this was the first opportunity where I was like the creative lead in terms of like the sonics of it, right? So he just told me like, yo, like I want you to like, you know, definitely I want it to be produced all by you, but I want you to lead on it. Cause I was actually, this is, I don't know if I've said this in an interview before. I think I may have in one other interview, but I was actually working on I don't know if it was going to be an instrumental project or not, but my mind was already in this like cyberpunk world. I was already working on something like that. And he heard some of the stuff I was working on. There's an Instagram video of me playing him one of the joints.
Word.
It's an Instagram video of me playing him what went on to become Protagonist, the last track on Cyberpunk Rhapsody. And he's like going crazy, like, yeah, and this shit is super fire. But at the time, that was just like some shit that I was doing. And it was, you know, I was kind of creating with the thought that eventually it could become something. But he came to me and was like, bro, like that sound that you on right now, bro, like, I just want you to drive. Like, I want to do a record with you. And I want you to drive. And I asked him, I'm like, are you sure? Because I already gave you this spaceship metaphor. We finna blast off in this motherfucker. Like and he was comfortable with doing something that was sort of outside of his comfort zone at that point, because it was, you know, it was really electronic. I mean, it was definitely some Detroit, some soul, some boom bap.
Yeah.
But as the album progressed, it was intentionally more and more radical, cyberpunky, electronic sounding, and that was all part of the story. That was all part of because if you look at the narrative, right, even in the cover art, there is this samurai, right, Noveliss, who's been in this world of sort of lo-fi, organic, like nature sounding beats.
Yeah,
he's feeling kind of lost, and you know, Hir-O, the cyberpunk ninja space cadet, comes and beams him up into the spaceship, and now like we're going towards that cyberpunk sound. That was what that was all about. So you feel that in the progression of the record,
and it's so on brand for y'all too. Like, just that's what made it so dope. I'm like, then me being a fan of the podcast as well, I'm listening like, yo, this lines up so perfectly because I hear what y'all talk about. So I'm like, why? I'm like, yo, like to me, I see y'all as like not characters in that sense, but like I picture like just a whole comic book for some reason.
Sure.
Or like,
And then, to be honest, bro, like I'm glad you said that, because really, I said this once somewhere before too. The Cyberpunk Rhapsody is kind of like if the podcast is like a comic book, right? Like Cyberpunk Rhapsody is like a I'm not gonna say a culmination arc, because the podcast is still going, even though we do it when we can, but it is sort of a amalgamation of all that Swordcast like energy, the vibe, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the nerdy shit, all of that. It's like a part of the Swordcast lore, right? Like, it's almost like an in-universe event in the Swordcast universe. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna get to that too. And then because that's what threw when y'all had the title track, the intro from Swordcast on there. I'm like, oh, because it was a different name, of course. I'm like, then I feel like y'all might have already played the joint with Elzai on there before.
I don't know that.
I feel like I heard it. I don't know.
You know, I might have sent it to you on some secret shit, on some. Like,
no, it might have been like, I think y'all might have did the intro of the show, like, and played that. I don't know if y'all did it before the album came out.
Yes, we did. So I think it was the day. It was like the album came out on a Tuesday, and in the podcast that released that week, we put the.
That's what it was. Because I hadn't heard the album. I was like, yo, I was like, what the fuck is this? Man, that Thor line. Listen, like I was talking to Peace about this, right? And I was like, I said, hey man, I always like they intro for this, both intros too, by the way, because like it's like if people been around since the beginning, that first one, man, I was like, oh shit. And then this one, but then hearing Elzai on there, I was like, I said, hey man, I like our intro. I really do. Like, we got the Spider-Man theme from Marvel of the Minds, and I smoked the verse on there, like period.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling Peace, I said, man, but did you hear theirs though? Like I said, and this I said they did, like I've been creating mine like after y'all's and everything, but then the L's I got in there, I said, nah, did you hear what he said about Thor though? Like
He said,
let me take you on a ride. The something
the door slide up, and all you see is the hammer with Thor
with
inside.
the Thor side. Yeah, I was like, come on, man. I like the hammer, like the guy said, dog, that guy is a problem, bro. And I just kept listening. It made me insecure, dog. I kept going back, listening to my shit. I was like, no, my shit fire though. It's fire. His brain just different, dog. Like I be telling people still, I always be like, man, I remember like hearing Elzai for the first time on Come Get It or whatever off Welcome to Detroit. And my style of rhyming was so different before then. It was more so like basically this around the time I'm rapping on and off with 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. And it was like I'm trying to like prove myself, like, no, I can really I'm good at this, whatever. Like, but then I heard that and it just changed the entire trajectory of how I'll write from that point on. Yeah. So like I say, yo, Elzai indirectly trained me like to rhyme, dog, and like as many of us, you know what I'm saying, like that rap from the city, and it just was like, yo, man, but that shit blew my mind. I said, they done got Elzai on this shit, and I was wondering because I know y'all kept saying y'all was waiting on the verse. I'm like, oh, was that the verse they was waiting on? Yeah, man.
So yes, and that was the main one we were working on. We were waiting on. And just a quick aside about that, I talked to Cloudy, you know, his little brother. And I asked him, like, bro, like, does he? So like me and Knobs joke about this all the time. Like he could have farted out a verse, and like, bet, like, let's go, like. That's Elzai, bro. Who cares? Like even low effort Elzai would be incredible.
Yeah,
but
man.
The fact that he like understood the assignment, that nigga went and did research, because I asked Cloudy, I'm like, bro, does he game? And he was like, nah,
dog. I was when I said I didn't know. I was like, yo, he had the Ken and Ryu references in there and everything. I said, yo, man.
I think he games like, you know, like we all did back in the day, but like he was really in that. He went through the whole fucking character list. So clearly, and it's just big ups to Elzai for being just like a really, really good OG. Like the fact that he listened to the joint, he appreciated it, he knew what we were trying to do, and he went and did his research and like put forth the same effort, bro. Like he ain't had to do all that for us, and we just really appreciate that, bro. Shout out to Elzai, man.
Because I listened to the song recently, and like he don't even know. Like I had shout out to my dog Devin, who used to go by the name Cordova. He's from out in Virginia, and he sent me like within that same week of me re-listening to the song. And this is why I try not to listen to like other MCs that I admire a lot, because it spills on you. And so Dova is like he's a Marvel head. Okay. So he sent me a joint. He actually has an EP out that's pretty dope. It's Kang the Conqueror themed. I believe Kang is like his favorite Marvel villain. And he sent me a joint called Red Guardian. And I was like, okay. So I listened to the song. I was like, okay, I don't know much about the Red Guardian like that. You give me Winter Soldier, Cap all day, whatever. I say, but dang, Red Guardian, I know who he is, but I'm thinking that's what the theme is. All like, nah. So they just kind of him and the other cat on there kind of threw some references in there. I said, bet. All I gotta do is, man, I can't wait till people hear that shit. Just put it like that. Because I took it all out on that, man. I was like, yo, like, man, but
I'm gonna break. There was one more. I think I don't know. We talked a lot about the Soracast. I mean, about Cyberpunk Rhapsody. I don't remember if I've said this or not, but we're at a point where I'm not really sure if it's gonna happen or not. So I'm okay with saying it. There was one more super secret verse we were waiting on. We were waiting on possibly. So quick. So I'll tell this. I'll reveal it by way of a quick story. I guess the unintentional single from the record was Still Packed Tight in Microchip, right?
Yes, love it.
A bunch of views on YouTube, awesome video. Shout out to dog. Why can't I remember my boy's name who made the video? This is embarrassing. He does all of Noveliss' videos, and he's super, super dope. And now I can't remember his name. Damn, it'll come back to me. Anyways, so that beat came about because I was remixing the intro to Samurai Champloo. I just wanted to do a tribute to that, just because I always like that joint. And so the original version of that song, I just put Hir-O, the original, or Hir-O, the original rapper. I put his verse over the track, and I sent it to Noveliss, like, yo, listen to this shit I made. And he was like, oh, this is fire. We should put this on the record. And I'm like, all right, bet. Like, we should use the hook. We should use Shing's hook to, like, that'll be the hook, like, the battle cry hook, right? And so Noveliss has a relationship with Shing. He did a show with him in Japan, I think, or I think in Ann Arbor at some point. They've done a show together before, so they have a relationship. And I was like, we should just get Shing, bro. Like, just ask him if he can be on there. So we were gonna use the hook. We sent it to Shing. Shing was like, bro, like, this is fire, but you can't use the hook because whatever issues with, like, Nujabe's estate, and he just the legal was fuzzy. So he was like, nah, don't worry about it. I'll just do another hook, and I'll just jump on the track with y'all. So there was a moment where we thought we were gonna get Shing as not only just a hook, but also, like, having a verse on that motherfucker. That would have been incredible. Unfortunately, he was in the process of moving his studio, and just all kind of shit was going on with Shing, so we weren't able to get it done in time. There's a possibility that maybe we can still get it done and do, like, a release in the future, but that would be really, really awesome if it did. But shout out to Shing. Shout out to him, like, giving us the blessing to even, like, do this in the first place. So I'm not sure if it was up to him or not, but he was totally cool with it. So, like, yeah, it was really a dream come true. Getting even just, like, the possibility of Shing and getting Elzai, getting Blue.
Man.
Like, bro, it was awesome. We really
man. That's a super dope story. Just even that you mentioned, like, he was in the middle of, like, moving his his studio and everything, which brings me to my question about, like, just centered around, like, just responsibilities and tasks that kind of impact creative work. So what I would want to know from you is, how do you manage, because obviously you got a life outside of creating the music, right, and outside of doing this workcast. How do you balance your daily adult responsibilities with the creative side of things?
Well, that's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know. I got a whole career. I got, like, a whole career, a whole full-time job, you know what I'm saying, family, all that stuff. So I am lucky to be where I am, and I can imagine you probably feel similarly, because I know you are a respected name in the city, where, for one, I'm a producer. I don't rap. My job is a little bit low. It's I wouldn't say it's lower lift, but it's like, it doesn't require me to be out and in front as often, right? And I'm blessed to have done enough work, and to have made the right connections, and to have, like, had the opportunities to show my talent in a way where folks know me, they respect me, they know the music, they respect the music, they recognize my talent. I'm blessed to be considered one of the premier producers in our scene, and that's, like, a huge. I couldn't ask for anything other than that. Like, that's a huge honor. And honestly, bro, like, it's never enough, because music is something that I would do whether it made money or not. It's just a part of my self-care process. It's a part of my self-expression. It's a part of my DNA. So I'm always going to do it. But having that piece, arrived at that space, makes me feel satisfied, insofar as I get to kind of make music at my own pace. And the fact that I'm blessed enough to not depend on it as my main source of income, it allows me to be particular with, like, how I choose to engage in music. Like, I can do the music that I want, as opposed to music that I feel like I have to do, because it doesn't become fun at that point. And I say all this to say that, combined with just the love and respect that I already get in the city, that I'm super blessed to arrive at, it's a comfortable space where I can take 6 months off.
Yeah.
And not really feel a type of way, and just like allow myself to live life. And so actually, here's a better way to think about it. I can allow myself to live life and do music when I feel creatively charged, as opposed to doing music because I have to pay a bill. And like,
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about this. I've heard Doc talk about this. I've heard Noveliss talk about this, where like it kind of drains some of the creativity out of you. It drains some of the passion out of you if it's become like a chore and like a survival tactic. And I would hate, I don't think I would like that. Like, I think it wouldn't work. It wouldn't mesh well with my personality. So I think I'm okay with and again, there's a sacrifice there too, because the plus side of that is if it's what you got to do to depend on it, you're going to fucking drive, you're going to push, and you're going to you're going to make it or break it. You're going to become a professional. You're going to become this, you're going to become that. But it's going to come at the cost of the grind and like not having any time for anything else. And I think I'm okay with the trade-off. I'm okay with the trade-off of being able to do music at my own pace because I have a career to support me and my family financially, at the cost of maybe I'm not the biggest and most famous producer out there, but I still got love in my circle. Like the circle that I care about, they fuck with me. And that's all I need.
Man, that's well said. And you basically, you said exactly what I was like thinking. I was gonna lead in with what it's funny because what you just said, I was gonna lead in with that. Like, man, you seem like, because I get that from y'all and I admire that too. Like y'all, like even like, hey, when music coming, it's coming. It's no like, I don't never get the whole like when y'all release music, like people saying, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Oh, they definitely
so much
say
so,
it.
but it's not like it's like how you said, it's not like the pressure to where you feel like, oh shit, I gotta cook up because this is my main source. You know what I'm saying? It's my main source of income. Yeah. And I had to tell myself that like one day I was like, hey, you got a job and you're able to support you and your family off of your day job. The music is great to make money. Like I literally just got a 1099 forms order around tax time. I was like, yo, I just sat back. I was like, damn. And it was all one was off sync and one was like some bullshit off streaming royalties. But nonetheless, I was like, yo,
sync is where it's at though.
I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter's mom probably looking like, what's this one? Like, yeah, that's not a regular day job. Like, check. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, but I just got to sit back and look like, oh man, like I really just doing that off not feeling pressured or not is I get to create when I want to, and so much so that I had to slow myself down. Like, yo, why you rushing? Like, why you so anxious to put out the next body of work? Like, fall back, relax. Like you know, live life a little. You got it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you an example, bro. Like, I'm slow. I'm a slow producer, bro. Matter of fact, this is ironic because this is your family. One of my favorite videos ever, and I know you know the one I'm talking about, is that Black Milk YouTube video from like 13 years ago, nigga, where he's making
the rhythm roulette one, or he's in the basement.
He's in the basement on the
MPC.
I
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So like I used to, bro. I mean, we all Black Milk. I know that's your family. You look at them differently from me, but I'm telling you, us like the producers that came in that next generation, like.
Yeah,
I used to study that video, bro. I used to watch. I probably watched the video like 100 times, dog. Like, and I got a chance to meet Black Milk a few times, not a ton. I exchanged information with him once, and he was super gracious to me. Gave me some good feedback, some good advice. Shout out to him. Shout out to KT as well. He's been super.
Hell yeah.
I have a little bit more of a relationship with KT. I've like connected with him a little bit more. But regardless, both of those guys are amazing. But that video. As much as I've studied that video, I don't make beats like that, bro. Like he chopped that motherfucker up, and I'm sure he went back and tightened it up and polished it, and it sounds completely different. But like I am slow when it comes to making beats because like I love it, bro. Like I don't want to rush through it, bro. I love the process. Like, how much producing have you done? I know you're mostly a rapper, but have you done a little bit of production?
Maybe around 11th grade, maybe maybe 3-4 times I gave it a shot, and I was like, this not for me. I don't have the patience.
You've been around enough producers to know the process.
Yeah.
So for me, I if I wanted to make a beat quickly, I'm sure I could, but that's not the way my creativity really flows. Like I will. So I got the machine right here. It's not plugged up, but this is where I work from. and I will make my little drum pattern. You know what I'm saying? I don't use a lot of drum packs. So I've started to do it a little bit just to kind of experiment with it, chop the loops up and kind of rearrange them. But I do a lot of just programming in like one shot samples, right? That's usually how I do my drum loops. I get my drum loop together, get me a sample, chop my sample up how I want to chop it, and I'll just sit here and just because I use the machine, which is similar. It has the 16 pad layout similar to the MPC, right?
Word.
And I lay my sample out across the pads, and I just sit here for 30, 40 minutes, nigga, just finding the right combination. And sometimes I don't even do it because I'm looking for anything. I enjoy that experience.
Yeah, just that process. Yeah, it's
just fun. Like I like it. And so like that, it takes me forever. And then I'll find 3 or 4 different patterns that I like, and I'll come back to one. I might never come back to another one. I go back and open the shit up and be like, damn, that was some cold ass shit I started 6 months ago. Let me see. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny the way you explain it. I'm thinking like, damn, that's how I kind of approach like rhyming. Like I kind of like train my brain in the sense to where I know how to write. Like if I'm trying to meet a deadline versus like when I'm just trying to sharpen my swords or whatever, right?
Sure.
So like it's funny because I literally recently I was like, man, I need to figure out like how, because like I'll be transparent about it. Like I always tell folks, I said my lifestyle a little different as a parent because me and my daughter's mom, we raising our kid she's on the spectrum. Gotcha. And it's not like high functioning. So everything is more so like routine based.
Gotcha.
So I had to figure out how to like pattern my creative task around that to where like, okay, if I know I'm dealing with this, I gotta figure out how to utilize this 30 minutes or an hour in between to get stuff done. So I'm like, damn. So it started helping me figure out like, okay, well, you might not be able to write this full verse today, like how you may have once done in the past. Mm-hmm. So now if like stuff comes to me or whatever, before I'm going to bed, I'm like, let me write that down. Or I got a scheme in my brain, like, oh, that's fire. Let me write that down. And I hear it in my head. I know I'm gonna come back to it. We got the voice notes in the phone. Now you could say stuff like, even if you mumbling it, like you go back, listen, what the fuck was I on? Like this is it. Oh, okay, that's what's good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Bro,
and stuff just start coming together.
I wish I could. It'll take me too long to find, but I will literally text myself codes to like remember beat patterns. So I'll text myself something like, because like in my head, like I used going back to when I first started making beats, like 13, 14, right? Like I would like kicks in my head. Or I say like I think of the word boom, BOOM, right?
Word.
Snare is either like I'll just type out snare or clap, and then hi-hats is tick, like TICK.
Yeah.
Right. So I will text myself like boom, boom, tick, tick, like in whatever pattern, and it'll be a trigger for me to like remember like what I was going for.
Oh shit.
It's hard to really like one for one explain because you can't really translate cadence in like word form, like unless I have like a fucking like sheet music and I'm not like super proficient at reading music. So I might say like boom boom tick tick and I'll give like a reference to another song that like would have the cadence that I'm trying to remember. And that should be working, bro. That should be working sometimes.
Man, wow.
Creative brains.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking like, man, I can imagine like somebody listening that's not on there listening like, what? Like, how do you even? Oh man. Yeah. Which so and just to kind of like transition away because I was thinking about this when we were talking about it earlier, as far as you were talking about just the sword cast and how like it's just being on brand like with the projects and everything. Y'all got this Discord, dog. And I peek in there every once in a while and be like, I got some time. Let me go and scroll. Like, yo, it's a whole man. How did y'all? Because community is important.
Mm-hmm.
Community is important for sure. Like y'all cannot have a swordcast and that Discord still exists, and it's still. I was like, when I talked to him one-on-one, I got it. How did y'all build that community, dog?
Bro, that's all Noveliss, bro. Like I feel like niggas don't really know These niggas is like, do you remember?
They
like,
are. Yes, they are.
Them Clear
Yeah.
Soul Forces niggas is famous, bro. Like
Me, my homegirl Kirby. I'm pretty sure you know
yeah,
Kirby
I
is
know
like
Kirby.
we
Yep.
talk about this often. Like, yo, they are stars, dog.
Yes, bro. Like they used to
like,
tour. They toured all through Europe. They toured. I mean, I know Nav has been to Japan. Like they are. Them niggas is professional rappers, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like they
dog.
don't just do this shit like on the side. You know what I mean? So, and I've always been fans of them for even before me and Nav started working. And low key, and Nav told me this, like we were always like friends and like cool, and like we're like 1 degree away from actually working with each other, right? Like I would like Nav was trying to get me onto some Clear Soul Forces shit, like back in like the Revo
Oh, word.
OPP7s days. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just didn't work out. It worked like the way it worked out was the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But I say all this to say, you know, Nav is like that nigga's for real. Like he is a premier elite, like professional rapper, and has like many tens of thousands or more fans, right?
Man.
And so when we started doing the podcast, you know, I can't remember who it was. It was one of our, I think somebody in the Discord, somebody in the YouTube comments suggested that we started Discord.
To do a Discord. Okay.
And we had already kind of gotten a fan base because of Novelist's music first, and then a couple of my fans. I ain't gonna throw myself all the way under the bus. It's a couple of niggas that came because they were fans of me also.
Word.
But mostly these are mostly Novelist's fans, and you know, once the YouTube started to kind of get a little bit more traffic, we put a link to we created the Discord based off of that. We put a link in there, and it's we try to keep it. It's kind of like you get invited at this point. Like we don't really have public. Matter of fact, that's how I knew we had a bot in there one time, is because I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't sent out a live link, like an active invite link, in a long time. So like, I don't know you, bro. Like you probably not a real human. And it turns out that nigga was a
damn.
So, but yeah, that's how we got it started, man. Those are all Knobs fans and his fans. He did it the right way, bro. Like he created a grassroots, earnest, loyal fan base, bro.
Man, I'm telling you. And then it's like
so gracious that they're my fans too now. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like I love that, bro.
Dog, when y'all first invited me in there, and I was like, yo, I remember just telling folks, I said, man, I've never got such a warm welcome digitally like that on a platform I ain't that familiar with. I'm like, they were like, what's Discord? I said, man, I don't know. All I know is I went there and everybody like, whoever like fuck with them, fuck with me too. It was like, it was just like a stark reminder, like, oh yeah, like you are like,
you one of the ones, bro.
Like, yo.
I get, because I'm pretty sure I was the one who gave you the introduction, and I made sure niggas understood. Like, you know, Crimson Alchemist, she's in our Discord too, and I did the same. Nigga Doc is in there as well. He don't really be in there like that. But if you one of them ones from our music scene and our like the Detroit like hip hop scene, especially the corner of it that we occupy, it's really hard to like to separate yourself in, like, because man, the bar is so high. Like everybody's super talented, and if you manage to do that, like you have earned everybody's respect. And I needed to make sure niggas understood that.
And that's one thing, and I appreciate it too. That's one thing I tell the people all the time. Like a lot of people, they see, because I kind of came in under Milk or whatever, right? But also at the same time, he had his peer group that he still associates with today. That wasn't necessarily my peer group. So like when he kind of broke off and became who he was, whatever, I found my own peer group, which was y'all around the time. You think of Cruz, you think of Street Justice, you think of the BLAT Pack, you think of Coleman Young. Even at the time, Mo Dirty like was technically kind of in between both. Yeah, Miss Corona like who was kind of in between both.
Even Danny Brown was kind of in between.
And he just kind of like certain ones kind of broke off and had they on. That's why I'm thinking like Mo Dirty, Danny Brown for sure. Like I remember like literally this back when I think I had a sidekick still, which I was probably still late in the game with. This might have been like 09. And I remember Twitter just kind of being brand new still. I remember like having whole conversations with Danny Brown, just like him telling me like, man, I found out about you off Sound of the City, bro, like on Bang this shit. I'm like, yo, who is that? And I'm admiring him. Like we just it's just like it's, and then seeing where he is now. Like I'm literally a fan of the Danny Brown show. Like when I found out, I was like, I found out y'all was doing the podcasting because like I remember telling folks a while back. This was like maybe because I had started in 2016 in podcast land, and I would always say like, man, like ain't no other rappers like or niggas that's like from anybody like in music like doing this. Like it just don't seem like it's like I knew podcasts and I established great relationship with people in podcast space, but just like I was still looking like, yo, where the folks that do music though that's in this? So I didn't find out about Danny Brown doing it until much later. But when I came across y'all, which was, it might have been 2019. I know it was before the pandemic for sure.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
And I was like, what they talking about here? Like, this is a dope name. And I like swore that's fly. Like swore cats ain't okay. Tapped in, heard. I'm like, oh, this intro is hard. And I remember I was like, oh, this is dope. I'm like, yo, they talk about sports.
Yep.
The comics.
Yep.
They talking about anime.
Yep.
They gonna throw some random movies in there, some TV shows. Where I was like,
some 90s nostalgia.
Yep. I was like, I like this format, and y'all kept the same formula going. I was like, this is spot on. And I was like, wrestling. I was like, I don't even be watching. Man, y'all had me like literally, like I hadn't really been tapped into wrestling like that for years.
When I first started the podcast, I was just getting back into wrestling, and it's helped me get all the way back into it.
Man, last year I found myself, I'm like, what's this AEW shit they talking about? I remember watching, I'm like, oh, okay, I get why. You know, like I ain't never stick with it, but I understood why. I was like, yo, that's because of them, dog. That's crazy. Like anime, a lot of that stuff. It's funny because of my job, like a lot of younger folks we hire, like when we do the icebreakers and everything, because I'm a senior lead in my job, like we'll do the icebreakers. You talking to people and they're like, yeah, I'm in the anime and everything. I was like, wow, interesting. So then like, hearing y'all talk about it, I was like, I don't know about half the time. I don't be knowing about none of it, like for the most part, unless it's the old faithfuls, like y'all say something about Dragon Ball Z or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. But then other stuff, I'm like, yo, what's that? I was like, it sound dope. I might check that out one day. It sound on fire. So football here and there, but like, I love when y'all get to talk about basketball,
bro.
Like,
because when we talk basketball, it's so specific to our weak ass teams. Nigga. I mean, the Warriors have been great, but the Pistons, we just now starting to turn the corner, which I could not be happier about, obviously. Yeah, but it's just like, oh man, one of my favorite segments ever was when I did the do you fuck with the Dan Le Batard show at all?
I'm not familiar, no.
So the Le Batard show, it's a formerly an ESPN podcast. Dan Le Batard is a ESPN. He used to be an ESPN writer, and so he does this sports podcast. But it's almost like a spoof of a sports podcast. They just be cracking jokes. It's hilarious. And so that was like a big influence. Like when I do all the like the sound effects and shit. That was the Le Batard show.
Man, the one with what's the like the bagpipes or something?
Yeah, Doug. So one of my favorite joints was when I did that like line by line hot take of the NBA draft when we Cunningham, Doug. That shit was hilarious, bro.
Man, I think it's like another one you had with Hir-O's hot takes, and you just say all that shit or whatever, hitting the bell.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, love it, dog. Like, man, there's so many like classic moments on that show, dog. And then like when I just always thought it was funny, like where like Nav, he only liked like the action, like when it comes to movies and shit. Yes. So it's like just all crazy? Action and only action.
You know what's crazy? Do you follow him on Twitter?
Yeah.
If you've seen him on Twitter lately, this nigga turned into a whole ass film snob now.
I saw you mention that on the pod. Yeah.
We finally got to him. He finally started watching shit that was like sci-fi, like art house films. Like that nigga been watching like old, like black and white samurai movies. I'm like, bro,
wow.
He's finally broken free of the action movie.
He might mess with a show like Severance or something that's out right now.
I haven't gotten him into TV yet. Because I still gotta get him to watch Game of Thrones, bro. We haven't even gotten to Game of Thrones yet. So
I never got into it. I never did. I got into around the time. What was the spinoff show of it?
House of the Dragon.
Yeah. I started watching. I kept telling people on my job, like, yo, you need to watch. I was like, yeah, it looked dope, but it ain't got me yet.
Bro, I used to be one of them fucking assholes that was like, "Oh, I don't watch Game of Thrones," and nigga, I turned that shit on. I was like,
y'all got me. Shoot, I was watching. I think it was season 1 of House of the Dragon. I was like, I see why.
Yeah,
people had that allure of Game of Thrones. I said, I get it. I said, man, it'd take some time to like get involved in that world and like get hooked to it, like how people did.
Listen, bro, we talk about this all the time on the pod. I am a what we call a lore whore, bro. If it's got a big world and a bunch of lore, a bunch of like world building, I'm in. And Game of Thrones is like maybe one of the best universes out there. But to your point, though, I am into Severance. I think I'm caught up. The new episode,
incredible show. It drops at midnight, actually.
Okay, so yeah, I'm caught up. That shit is fire, bro. That's like right up my alley, right there. Like that kind of
Silo, like all that type of shit. Like, this is my bag.
I watched the first season of Silo. I liked it, and I'm definitely gonna watch the second season. But the show, I think we talked about this. The show that I like, on Severance is definitely probably number 1, but the one that I like a lot that I think you might fuck with on some like space drama, space opera shit is Foundation. Have you watched that?
No, I've been hearing about it, and I got it in my queue. I just never really got around to it. Damn, that is another one that I heard about. Bro. Apple TV really don't be missing like that. Neither with
like with the sci-fi, with like the like big budget sci-fi shit. Man, even For All Mankind is fire, bro.
I heard about that one too. I heard about that one. It's so many, dog. It's so much shit to stream. God damn it.
Foundation is fire just because it's very similar to Dune. As a matter of fact, I think Isaac Asimov is the author of Foundation, and I'm pretty sure that Frank Herbert was inspired by Isaac Asimov for Dune. And then ironically, George Lucas was inspired by Dune to make Star Wars. So like there's a lot of Dune in it. It's not quite as, it's very similar, like sort of like big world buildy, Game of Thronesy, but in space. And you know me, I'm on my pro black shit. Like it's 2 black women as the leads, and they're both amazing. It's fucking awesome. I would definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, man, I love that, man. That's what I say. I'll just listen to y'all show and just be like, especially when y'all get to talking about like just the Marvel content and just specifically the X-Men, because it be shit. I'm like, yo, I didn't know that. Like I thought I knew what I knew, but they done said some shit I had no idea about.
Man, I can't grab it. I got a whole stack of comics over there behind me. You have to come to the studio one day. I got a whole, like around the corner over there. It's a whole box of comics. But if you've been watching the podcast, so you will know we say this all the time, bro. We need you to collaborate. Noveliss and I called Secret Wars literally the day after. Nigga, when we got back from the theater after watching Endgame, I said on pod, the only thing they can do next is Secret Wars.
It's Secret Wars, option. I do recall that. Yeah,
that's
for
the only option, bro. And
they go in there with it too.
And they're doing what I fucking said they should do. Although we'll talk about it, but I'm getting a little bit nervous. But I said that Secret Wars was gonna be the way that they tie in the X-Men and Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And I think
I'm seeing a lot of the drops every time I look online, because my YouTube feed is full of that. It's just everything is like, you know what I'm saying? I've been seeing like now, like talking about that they're working on X-Men, they got cast members and everything now. So I'm like, okay, they doing exactly what they should do.
So here's my thing that I'm getting a little worried about, right? There is a lot of evidence to suggest that when they do Secret Wars, they're going to do how they did. They're going to follow Secret Wars 2015, the comic.
Oh, yeah.
You've got basically Marvel 616.
That's the one. I kind of like that one better, too, opposed to the original one from the 80s.
Totally. I definitely agree. Because I mean, honestly, it was like a culmination of all those stories.
Yeah.
Where like you've got 616 versus the Ultimate Universe, and then you know the what do they call them, the incursions.
Yeah.
And it took the whole God Doom piece and like him stealing the power of the Beyonder, and then Franklin Richards and Malky Man, all of that shit. It basically took a resetting of the whole Marvel universe that combined the 616 and the Ultimate Universe. So now Miles Morales and Peter Parker exist in the same universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got all of that shit popping, and I think that they are intending to do something similar with that. But my thing is, why do they keep teasing the X-Men in the main Marvel universe, bro? Like,
yeah,
you ain't got to do that, bro. You don't have to rush that.
money.
You're right.
That's it, money.
Because they know Wolverine is gonna sell tickets.
Look, his X-Men carrot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's X-Men carrot, dog.
Yeah,
but that's all they keep doing is making announcements. I was telling Peace about that. I said, I wish they stopped making announcements about stuff that's not until much further down the line.
Facts.
We're working on X-Men 2028. Like, why y'all doing this? Like, stop this.
and I knew they couldn't. This is, you might know this because you're as big a nerd as I am when it comes to this stuff. But when they were talking about, like when Fox first bought the X-Men, when Disney first bought Fox, I think that was like 2019, right before the pandemic.
Yep.
Niggas was already like, all right, who we gonna cast for Wolverine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, y'all need to chill. They aren't going to do anything X-Men related until at least 2025. Because and the only reason why they were able to use Hugh Jackman and like they brought Professor X back in, they did all of this stuff with these same characters, these same actors. Because
something about the contracts, like that allow, you know what I'm saying?
So all the original Fox actors were under contract with Fox to play those roles until 2025. I think that's what it is. So like,
that's exactly what it was.
When they bring in Professor X, it had to be Patrick Stewart, or it could have been the younger guy whose name I can't remember, who played him in First Class. That's why they're bringing in Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
They can't recast anybody until those contracts are done.
Yep.
Now in 2025, you're going to start seeing some of those castings.
Right on time. You're starting to see people announce like who getting cast as Jean Grey. They found Wolverine, but they ain't showing it yet. Or they found I done seen like 3 different ones this week already. Like we done found Cyclops.
Who do you think they're going to get for Wolverine? Who do you think and who would you want?
It's so tough, man. You know, it's funny. That's funny because I literally was just watching the new series Paradise on Hulu, and it's this cat on there. I don't know his actual name, but I know his name on the show is Billy. And I immediately, because Peace told me about the show, and I immediately hit Peace. I say, yo, that man, get that man in the MCU.
What'd you say?
And he was like, his character's name is Billy on Paradise. And immediately, like, I got this thing where I would watch it and just be like, could they be in the MCU?
I see.
And I was like, get this man in there. And
so
he was like,
who are you thinking for this? Who do you want him to be?
I wouldn't, now that you mention it, because you mentioned Wolverine, I could see him pulling it off.
I can see
and
that.
then it's just like when you watch the show, if you get around to it and like see his like character arc and how he came about, I was like, there it is right there. I couldn't think of it at the time, but Peace was like, he could, but who could you see him being? So, yep.
I like that. I honestly, bro, like they already made the joke about it in Deadpool versus Wolverine, but I like Henry Cavill.
He looked fire.
He looked fire.
He looked dope. I could see that.
Who I would want, and I wish you don't watch Game of Thrones, so I wish you probably ain't gonna know who I'm talking about. But you familiar with the character Jon Snow?
Yes, yes.
Kit Harington is the name of the actor. He's got the size and he's got like the face for it, but he's just a little bit too pretty. He's a little too handsome. He's a little too like baby faced. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This dude is kind of gruff. I like because he's got kind of like a gruff. He's got like a mug on him a little bit. Kind of I ain't gonna call a nigga ugly, but he's like he gruff looking.
Like he been through some things.
Been through some shit. Jon Snow is very much a pretty boy. I don't know if Wolverine, that doesn't really speak. Wolverine has been through like more than literally anybody, right? So he's got to wear that on his face. So I actually like that pick a lot. That's a good pick.
Yeah, man. And in the sense, man, now that we speaking about this, I'm looking like this has become Marvel of the Minds. So I think about it, we gotta, because this was the perfect schedule. Actually, this is my first time like recording like this. My episodes will never be this long, honestly.
Bad, bro.
So, no, you're good. This is perfect because when you said it, I was like, I was like, all right, I got bet. All right. So now as we talking about the Marvel content, I was like, oh, it popped in my mind. Like, I'm pretty sure Peace, because he on Australia time, so I'm pretty sure like he good and wide awake around that time. So yeah, we gotta have you on, man. You and Noveliss actually is like that'd be a perfect mashup.
Yeah,
because we actually, I think we're recording Saturday. I want to say we're supposed to have Self Says on there as well. Like he just was, I think right before the episode, he was just texting me like, "Yo, I just saw the Spider-Man episode 2 and everything." He getting caught up. So
I haven't started watching that yet. Is it good? I heard the actor was on some bullshit though.
Yeah, he was. I just found that out today, and I ain't like that shit. I was like, "Why would you say that?" I was like, "Nah, I gotta look. Now I'm side eyeing the show. I already don't like the theme music. It's cool. It's almost like the best I can say is it's like White Into the Spider-Verse.
That's hilarious. I can totally see that though.
It's basically like just picture Peter Parker into the Spider-Verse and only just Pete. So, but I like it though. It was almost like it passed the time, and it just felt like it felt like that escapism was there. Like obviously without even getting into it, considering the landscape of everything that's going on in the country right now, it's certain thing it's kind of like perfect timing that you got all these comic to cinematic platforms releasing
for sure
TV shows and films. I like, oh, this is like perfect timing because that's always been escapism for me. Like because of the pandemic, I was already like watching the MCU films and everything, but not so fully invested into them until the pandemic. Because now, I got time. I'm about to go ahead and watch everything I've already seen, but I'm gonna watch it in the order that it should be watched in, and I'm just diving. I'm looking for Easter eggs and all that type. You know what I'm saying? So it took me back to that watching these Spider-Man episodes. It just felt like pure escapism, enjoying it. I'm watching I'm eyeing it a second time I watch it to be like, oh, I missed that this time. I'm watching that's just me anyway. I watch all the recap videos and Easter eggs, like, oh, I didn't see that. How did they peep that? You know what I'm saying? But very good show though. I like it so far, but I did not like that shit that the character that plays Spider-Man said. I'm like, what?
Right,
like,
man, come on,
I hope it's not just corny shit. Like, I hope it's not woke and pain or some shit. I was like, all right, man, you ain't even have to say that.
You really did. It was unprovoked. It didn't ask him about that.
It's like, wow, dog. I like, now I don't even like him as a character, man. Get somebody else. Like, get somebody else to voice him.
Yeah,
like,
go get Miles, man. Miles, you know how we feel on the Swordcast, man. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Pete for the nostalgia, but give me Miles all day, bro.
Yeah, coldest Spider-Man, hands down, dog.
Facts.
Hands down.
Facts.
Man, I said have this on your mind.
Oh,
so we're approaching it to where, and I've been asking people this through chats and everything, and it's hard to come up with 5. But this is how we're gonna close it. Name me 5 Dilla tracks that he's contributed to, because we know he's an MC as well, so he don't have to have done the beat. So 5 of your favorite Dilla contributions that just bring that euphoric feeling every time you hear it.
All right, so actually I got 6 because I couldn't.
That's fine. If you got 10, that's fine. It's Dilla, so it's like
I mean, I could have did 10 easily. So just a quick aside, like my experience, and you were there. Like, did you get a chance to meet Dilla?
Never. Nope.
Really?
I was always like there when beat tapes would get out that weren't supposed to get out.
Gotcha.
Like it somehow get bootleg, and you like, yo, like I was actually able to hear like the Hoes instrumental off Trinity before it became what it was. Harmony, like it was a version of Harmony that was like insane, but it wasn't the final version that we heard on Trinity. I was like, oh my god, like it's like mad Dilla beats, you know what I'm saying? That you hear later that, oh shit, this ended up making this probably like how did they get that? You know what I'm saying? Like it was like that. So I was always like, what do you call it? The 6 degrees of separation, like because of my cousins or whatever. Like I just to give a quick backstory on it, like my aunt used to stay on Lindsay on the west side, and Ock, who, if the name sounds familiar, is who Black Milk mentions on the story. I forgot the name of the song, the intro on Tronic. Like we mentioned Ock, the one that got the beat tape to Slum on tour or whatever. So like in their basement, which is funny, they used to get high, like mad high, and they were just teenagers then. And now that I think about it, I don't know why, I just felt like they were adults, but man, just smell like incense and just listening to just Slum beat tapes, all underground, whatever. And I remember they would always play like just Dilla beat tapes or stuff that Dilla produced, but I didn't know. They never said the name. It's just like, yo, this shit fire, but they knew who it was. I didn't know that. and it was his production was always just like a part of my life for as long as I can remember, as far as even back with A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's how that came about with you. But what's yours?
So when I first, unfortunately, Xerox. Damn, that shit just came back to me. Xerox is the name of the cat who did all the Noveliss' videos. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
My bad, brother. So when I got introduced to Dilla, probably similar to a lot of folks that weren't right up underneath it did, because unfortunately, as legendary as he was, he never was like mainstream, like on the like WJOB, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
105.9, 107.5. Like you didn't hear his music then. So when I was like finding my connection with hip hop, Jay Dilla wasn't immediately on my radar. It took me until college because I went to college and I actually, that's not true. My homie Jimmy, who coincidentally is white, had Like Water for Chocolate. He had the CD.
Oh man.
And he gave me the CD, or he let me borrow the CD. I'm like, yo, this shit is cold, bro. Like,
that's a perfect introduction to him,
man,
too.
I'm like, I could not stop listening to that record, bro. Every single song was incredible. And I'm gonna get to this song in a second. There was one song on there that had Slum Village featured. And
Thelonious.
Right. So then I'm like, that was my favorite joint off of there. So then I went to college. And all of the the hipster white kids and like the sort of the cats from New York, the cats from like Oakland, they had like a different radar, and they were hip to shit that I wasn't hip to. So we had like this shared music folder, and I started downloading shit from this group called Slum Village. And I'm like, oh, that's the group that was from that Like Water for Chocolate joint. And I listened to Fantastic Volume 2 was the record that I downloaded. And I'm like, bro, this shit it like changed my world immediately. Man. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, like this production sound just like the shit from Like Water for Chocolate.
Yeah.
But on so this is like MP3s. I never had the CD. I never had the record. This is all just digital MP3s. And they kept referring to the producer in like the meta notes as JD. Jaydee. And I'm like, bro, JD, like that guy is awesome. And then when I looked at Like Water for Chocolate, I saw James Yancey. And then I started hearing other people referring to this other person called Jay Dilla. And and for like a year, I didn't know that all three of those people were the same guy. And I didn't know that Jay Dilla was the MC and the producer for Slum Village.
That's so dope, man.
So when I put all of that together, I kind of discovered Dilla like in reverse. I discovered his music first, his sound first, and then I connected the person to the whole thing. So with that said, that was the era that I really discovered Dilla. So like that's what sticks with me. Number 6 is I actually not from that era, is Dime Piece from The Shining with Dwele.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just super smooth, super neo soul, super jazzy. And it's got like this really kind of like almost like a house type like rhythm to it, which I really like. Number 5, this is the one that I was completely obsessed with, bro. This could have been number 1, but I discovered more Dilla later. But the first song that I was obsessed with, I can remember listening to it on repeat in my dorm room for like hours, nigga. Untitled Fantastic.
Oh, hell yeah. Right? Hell yeah, dog.
Untitled Fantastic, bro. Like to the point where
nobody ever had heard that style though, with them doing the stutter and the raps like that. Bro, like, what is that?
The stutter and the rap, and then like the rhythmic drop out of the beat, bro. Like, like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, I had never heard hip hop like that before.
Yeah, man.
Like it was either, it was like the pop shit that you heard on the radio. Back then it was, the late 2000s. Who was hot back then? Like Ludacris and Nelly and all of them. Which I got love for that part of the hip hop world. I'm not a hater.
I appreciate it more now than I did back then. Facts. You know what I mean?
Right? And then you had like the old school, like, what I'm saying, boom bap, like nigga, super hardcore New York shit, whether it's, early Nas or, you know what I'm saying, Tribe Called Quest, Black Alicious, you know what I'm saying, what's the group? I think they were called Black Alicious. That's not, is it?
I remember them too. They had that joint Feel That Way or something like that.
I think that was the name of the record, but the group was Mos Def and Talib Kweli. What was the name of their group together?
Black Star. Yeah, Black Star.
Yes, yeah, Black Star. So like just that kind of like super like New York, you know what I'm saying? Grimy, Wu-Tang Clan, like that kind of shit. Which I'll be honest, like that never really grabbed me, but I knew that like everybody was telling me that that's real hip hop. And I'm like, oh, man, I wish I liked it more, but it don't really grab me. And then when I discovered Dilla, it was
changes the whole.
Yeah, it was this other like this space between hip hop and like neo soul and jazz that the musician in me was really connecting to in a way that I didn't connect to the harder, gruffer New York shit.
Yeah,
that melodic shit. Like this is where I'm at. Whatever this is,
the perfect way to explain it, man. Like, cause I could literally throw on like sometimes everybody got their 90s hip hop playlist. Like I throw on mine and I'd be so appreciative of the songs. Like, man, I love these songs or whatever. But I don't have that same feeling from them as I do from when I listen to the joints that Dilla produced. And I'm like, I remember, like, I remember where I was with certain joints from the 90s, but with the Dilla joints, no, I remember where I was from a kid on up. You know what I'm saying?
I remember the color of my carpet in the dorm room as I paced back and forth listening to Untitled Fantastic, bro. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that was the first one that I was absolutely obsessed with. And you know, like all young producers, I started to try to remake Dilla beats. I would try to, you know, figure out how he did that shit, man. So from that, actually, no, I'm going back off again. I'm going back to The Shining. This one could have been higher too. They all could have been number one, man. I shouldn't even.
It's tough.
Rank them. I shouldn't even have ranked.
Yeah, that's what I said. I ain't order mine. I was like, ain't no order.
But One Won't Do.
Yeah. I think that was on everybody's when they was responding back. Yeah,
that shit. And that nigga Dilla was spitting on that motherfucker, bro.
Yeah, man.
He's such an underrated MC too. He really could rap for real.
Man, dog. I just was telling. I was in a chat talking about this on Instagram, and I was like, man, just randomly the bar came in my head where we say niggas large like an 8X Averex jacket, Coney guard, they bust like leg test sex back. That's scheme, dog. And it's like, come on, man. Like even like I was listening to the intro was the song after the intro on Welcome to Detroit, and where he's like, can't make a right turn without sitting it up. Why? Because sitting them does rub the truck. Why? Even rubbing and rough when I'm buckled up. Why get the whip if you're gonna cover it up? If your 0.6 is a point, it was like, oh my god, it was so simple but yet effective though. Dog.
He really was like, yo, that, bro. Oh, by the way, before we, and I know we probably running over, but I just because I'm such a producer nerd, shout out to Black. I want to give him his flowers too. There was a beat that Black Milk made. Probably my favorite Black Milk beat ever, on Popular Demand. As a matter of fact, the intro track to Popular Demand, the song, Demand, I think it's called Popular Demand, right?
With the sample of the lady singing or whatever. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I wonder if you noticed this, and I'll be willing to bet that you probably haven't, because as a rapper, y'all don't listen to music, y'all don't listen to the beat the same way producers do, and vice versa. I don't listen to the beat the way rappers do, but this nigga Black is fucking diabolical, bro. We all know 16 bar verse, 8 bar hook is usually the formula. Yeah. This nigga had, I don't know if it was a bass sample or a key bass that he played
at the end.
No, during the whole track. Okay. During the whole track.
Is it? Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Next time you listen to this shit, Pete, from the beginning of the song, I think from when that 808 first drops until the hook, which is like 24 straight bars, that bass line never repeats. And the entire thing is improvised. I don't know if it's improvised or not.
Damn.
He chopped it so that it never repeats for 24 straight bars.
We definitely hear shit to say, because I never would have caught that. Damn.
So, as a producer, I'm like, nigga, this motherfucker is a diabolical genius, bro. Like that. And so like I'm not like a bass player by any means, but like I was inspired by that, bro. Like I would try to do, like, I don't want the sample to ever loop or be the same for the entire 16, bro. Just because it'll be the foundation will be the same, but there'll be like little variations. Like I don't want to give you, and I still do that to this day. I don't always go 16. Usually I go 8 bars, or yeah, I'll do like 8 bars, and like every like in like typically a sample loop is 4 bars, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you, or maybe 2 bars, and I'll give you in that 8 bar section. It'll be the same meat of the loop, but I'm gonna flip a little shit. I'm gonna do a little and change something, flip it upside down one time for the 7th bar, and then turn that bitch sideways for the 9th bar. So it's like slightly different, so it hits your ear a little bit differently every time you hear it. And I learned that from Black Milk, bro.
I gotta listen to that song now, dog. Just because I never. That's crazy.
Yeah, that nigga Black is that nigga is the man. So all right, so won't do will be number 4, and then number 3, bro, Thelonious, dog.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Just the verse we was quoting, yeah, man. Like,
and just everybody was rapping their ass off on that verse, bro. Like everybody had a hard verse. I think Dilla's verse was the coldest. I think he had the best verse on that track. Matter of fact, I listened to you might have seen the same thing. There's an interview where Common is talking about when they recorded that song. And he was like, bro, like Dilla, your verse got to be last because it's the hardest one.
Smoked it, dog. That was the verse. Matter of fact, we knew Dilla could rap, but that was the one I remember like we were listening to that. I think I might have been like 8th grade, maybe 7th going into, and we was just listening to it like, yo, he elevated, dog. Mm-hmm. And he ever since that particular verse, like before it was just a lot of like styling. Like Slum was always good for styling or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that one we was like, oh whoa, like he really on here, he's rapping, and it just from there he kept doing it, and it's like he just kept getting better, dog. It was like, oh shit, like yo, Dilla's really like one of like the top MC producer MCs, I should say. Yeah.
Is there one better? Like
I always say Dilla. I mean, I say Black because I knew Black to rap first.
Fair.
Then doing the beats, and it just became this monster of its own. Mm-hmm. Then Dilla. Mm-hmm. And after that, I'm trying to think who else.
I can't think of nobody. Like here's some. Everybody want to say Kanye, right? And
I would love to, but Kanye,
he's not the producer, and I love Kanye West. Like, well, let me be safe. I have a love-hate relationship with Kanye West. I currently hate him because of what the decisions he's decided to make. But there was a time where I looked up to Kanye West where he was like, he just represented like what I wanted to.
Yeah, I was about to say it was that era. He spoke to all of us like, oh shit, he wanted us, dog. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So like during that era, like I was all in on Kanye, and I just don't think he was either the rapper or producer that Dilla was. Like I don't think he was as good at either as Dilla.
Like I used to get mad, man, when people just get so hyped off the soul samples. Like, oh, okay, but knowing that Dilla had been doing that, and Kanye literally giving Dilla his props, and people still like, no, but this here, it's like, all right, I get it. It's more digestible. I got it.
And Pharrell both gave Dilla.
Mm-hmm. Like I ain't call him a beat. He said he's a beat guy.
Yeah,
Dilla's a beat guy. Yeah.
All right. So and then let me see the top 2. I know what number 1 is. What's number? Oh, so number 2. And as a Dilla enthusiast, I don't have to explain this to you because I'm sure you would know it. Off of the vintage, some beat collection. I think it's vintage. Dreamy. Do you remember Dreamy?
I don't. Probably if I hear it, but not by name.
I'm gonna pull it up right quick. I don't have my system sound.
Oh, good.
But you'll be able to hear it in the background. This is Dreamy. You hear that?
I have heard that. Yes. Yeah. And I almost bet that probably was supposed to go on like one of Tribe's albums or something.
It sounds like Tribe. It kind of strikes me as like Untitled Fantastic, like in that era.
Yeah.
I think
it could have been like an interlude too.
Yes, it sounds like an interlude. I think I heard that for the first time on Adult Swim because they used to play a lot of Dilla shit as bumps. And just like to me, this beat just like it's like quintessential Dilla, bro. It's like that era of Dilla.
Them drums, that offbeat drum in there. Yep,
the offbeat drums, the subtle bass line, the jazzy ass keys. It represents that piece. one before I get to my last one, I got one more Dilla. Not really a hot take. It's more like a lamenting of. I think that people grieve how they want to grieve, and I'm not gonna judge that because I've had to grieve some folks, and that's tough. I think we grieve Dilla in a way that, and this is not a bad thing. This was probably good for the era, but I think it kept us. The way that we grieve Dilla kept us in a sound because we wanted to keep that Dilla feeling alive. It kept us in a sound, especially in Detroit, from like when Dilla passed until like probably like the early 2010s, where we were in that soul sample. Dilla sound, like we were in there. Like you couldn't do shit outside of that. You had to be in there. And I love it. It was instrumental. But there's two. Well, I in my mind, I got three Dilla disciples. There's Black, of course. There's many more, but the three that stand out is Black Milk, KT, and then the third one I'm gonna get to in a second. Black Milk and KT kept the Dilla lineage alive, and nobody could do that sound the way that nobody could do. And I'm not gonna say it's his sound, but nobody could do the
took
sound.
it and added to it as well.
Exactly.
They made it their own.
They became their own based off of where Dilla started and took it in their own direction. Nobody could do that better than those two guys. But there's one guy who I think if Dilla was still alive, and Black Milk is there now. The stuff that Black Milk is doing currently is there.
It's fucking insane.
It's where I'm going. It's where I'm going. It's where I think Dilla would have gone had he lived. But the person who started doing that shit because he was away from the city, Flying Lotus, bro.
Oh yeah.
Flying Lotus, in my opinion, is the third Dilla disciple. And because he was away from that grief the same way we were, I think he was able to kind of do some shit that went out in a different direction. And I don't know that Dilla would have went in that same direction, but he would have kept growing. He would have kept going somewhere. You feel me? And I'm really happy that like we got guys like Black, like KT, like Doc, like
man,
Flying Lotus, like fucking Nameless, bro. Like all of us are children of Dilla. You feel me? You know, I'm heavily influenced by Dilla, but like
my dog Marcus calls us he said Detroit is split between the Dilla babies and the Blade babies.
And the Blade babies.
I was like, yo, I said that's perfect, dog.
And you know what though? So I say the same thing. The Dilla lineage, I call it the Dilla lineage and the Blade lineage. It's the same concept. But you know who used to walk in both worlds and who united us all? Rest in peace.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
And Royce too, to some
extent. I was just about to say today, I would say Royce, because I thought you was going, but Proof for sure. Yeah.
Back in the day, but Royce now for sure.
Yeah.
So then the last one, and like nigga, this shit was so life-changing to me. I had them play this shit at my wedding, brother.
Word.
Bro. Didn't you know?
Oh yeah. Come on, man. How many times have MCs rapped over that?
Bruh.
You know?
Man, we all know that song. Like I there's no other words that needs to be said about it.
Baseline just embedded in your brain, dog.
Forever, bro. Forever. That shit is incredible. And I even heard like the original, like where Dilla got the sample from, and like it's not, he ain't like chop it up super crazy, but like the beauty is that he didn't need to. Like he knew the part that was the fucking money, and he put that bitch right where it was supposed to go.
Man, dog.
Like, just a masterful beat, bro. Like no notes, 100 out of 10, no notes.
And it's wild because that's one of the songs I didn't even, and I knowing he produced it, but it was just so many just rattling through my mind, like trying to just narrow it down to 5 because you can't. It's almost impossible. I may have to do 6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
No order in particular, but
smarter than me, bro.
Baby off The Shining.
Yep.
Listen, man, I could listen to that over and over and over, dog. One won't do for sure.
Yep.
Just cause like to sing, he was melodic, dog. Like if he was like him just singing on that, dog. I was like, I feel like he really mean this, like the way he's singing and how he was singing, even though I know he wasn't like serious on Baby. It was like funny, but at the same time, it's like, yo, he's really singing. It's like I'm in the car, like when I listen to it, I'm singing that part on Baby. Same thing with One Won't Do. I remember when I first heard this, I'm stupid. I didn't know. He's talking about a threesome. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and more than that, clearly, because 2 is not enough.
Right. One Won't Do, 2 is not enough. In fact.
Yeah.
Or.
But then I would say, baby, One Won't Do. Shake It Down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just that sample was so crazy to me, dog. Like, just, man, I love Shake It Down, dog. Another one would be, that's 3 that I got. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the song. Do I have my phone? I don't even got my phone on me. Damn. Oh no, yes, I do. All right. So Shake It Down, and it was one produced by Dabri with him and Fat Cat.
Oh,
man.
You know the homie Cadence, Brandon Edwards.
The name sound familiar. Sounds super familiar.
Yeah, he put me on that song. I can't remember what it's called. Dabri.
Yo, I heard it on the radio. It's called I'm finding it right now. Game Over. Yeah. Game Over. I remember when Mark the Spark had his show. Mark the Spark used to play all underground shit on I think it was WJLB. I'm not sure. It might have been I think it was 102.6. It's 107.5 now, but it might have been 102.7 then. And man, like that was my first time hearing myself on the radio, because they that same night they played Don't Hang Up off BR Gunna Dirty District Volume 2. And I remember hearing myself. I remember jumping on the couch like, oh shit, I'm on the radio, like, because I didn't know they were gonna play that. I just was listening to Mark the Spark per usual, and he played that. But that same night he played Game Over. I didn't know the name of the song. I thought Dilla did the beat, but they was my one of my cousins like, no, Dabri did that. Yo, that shit is nasty, man. Yeah. So that I got Baby One Won't Do, Shake It Down, Game Over. And I would have to say, because my 5 gonna change up all the time. Yeah. I'll go with 6. Yeah, so that would make okay. So this will make 5. But the Look of Love remix. I'm sorry. With because Fall in Love is different from Look, but the Look of Love remix, you know the one I'm talking about. Yep. That one, that like the Quiet Storm vibe. Man, I love that one. And
that's a one. That song gets stuck in my head all the time randomly.
Man, and for 6, I would have to say, I had it on my list here. I had it jotted down. 6, I would have to say Destiny from Fat Cat. I love that beat, man.
I don't know if I know that one.
You heard it. I think it's more so because of Melanie Rutherford. She was on Redman's label for a moment too. It was a toss up between that. Because we're narrowing it down, it was a toss up between that and also Much More by De La. Like, okay,
so I was 90% sure that was a Dilla beat, but me in college, I had a debate. Like, once I became a Dilla expert, because I became obsessed at that point. I had an argument with one of my homies in college. We were trying to figure out if that was Dilla or not. And this is before niggas knew how to do proper research. But I was like, I'm 90% sure that was Dilla that did that. So you're confirming now that was Dilla.
Was Dilla. Yep.
Say less.
Yep.
That should be on my list. That might have to be number 7 then for me.
Cause man, that beat, I'm looking at it now. Vocals, producer, what are they? Yep. James Yancey. Yeah, man.
It might have been Q-Tip. That was the other debate, the other possibility that we were debating.
Yeah, because he produced that for them. He also produced, I mean, obviously, other than Stakes is High, he also produced another one for them in one of their later albums with Sean Paul on there.
Oh yeah.
And that was one of those other ones that was on the beat tape.
Yeah.
Yo, this is a joint from Yep.
You know what my favorite Dilla story, random Dilla production story is, and as a matter of fact, I kind of feel like you might have told me this.
Was that
the Aerodynamic joint, the Daft Punk remix?
Oh, with Slum? Was it Slum? Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Where they, and shout out to Daft Punk for being good dudes. Dilla sampled Daft Punk, or he sampled one of the cats from Daft Punk. I can't remember if it was Tomas or the other guy. He sampled one of their joints for Raise It Up.
Okay.
And Daft Punk's label tried to sue Dilla.
Wow.
And apparently Daft Punk, Guy Manuel and Thomas, I can't remember that. I'm like a Daft Punk fan and I can't remember their full names. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna let that stand. I need to figure this out right now. Yes, Thomas Banglater and Guy Manuel Homen de Cristo. One of them did a solo joint that had a piece that Dilla sampled for "Raise It Up." That don't.
Okay.
That was from a Daft Punk. I don't know if it was Daft Punk yet, but it was like one of them before they became Daft Punk. One of their individual joints. The label tried to sue Dilla, and Daft Punk was like, "Nah, bro, like that nigga Dilla is awesome. Like, let's just have him do a remix for us."
Crazy sample too.
He remixed Aerodynamic, which was off of Daft Punk's Discovery record. And Slum Village, where that has a crazy Elzai verse, by the way. That was how that song came about. It was to circumvent the legal bullshit that the record labels be on sometimes. So,
because I remember the Bot 10 verse for some reason don't make no sense. The way we are, people can't get a chick without a car. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, man. But yeah, that would be mine. But I'm pretty sure, like I say, day by day, my list changes up. Like, oh, I forgot. But a lot of those songs, like I said, so many of them, I can remember where I was, how I felt. Like, oh man, that's just amazing. Like you get that feeling from those. That's why I always ask these, especially with it being like we're recording this in Dilla month, pretty much, right? So I just been asking a lot of my peers, like, yo, what's your 5 joints that you know what I mean? At least 5, and some people be having them on deck, like, oh, easy. Some people, oh, I gotta think about that.
I took it to heart. I thought about it. Also, I know this is Dilla month. I also got to give big love, big shout out to Nujabes as well, who, as you know, I think was born the same month and has the same birthday as Dilla.
Oh shit!
Died on the same day as Dilla. I think a different year, but
wow,
the same day as Dilla as well. Japanese producer, did the soundtrack for Samurai Champloo. Was the original producer for the song that inspired Still Pack Tight and Microchip. Like, and to be fair, like I actually discovered Nujabes before I knew. I mean, I discovered their music at the same time, but I identified Nujabes first because I was a big fan of Samurai Champloo back in 2005. But a lot of people consider Dilla and Nujabes to be kindred spirits. I don't think they ever got to meet each other, but they were definitely on some similar shit. Nujabes was kind of, they call him the godfather of like that lo-fi sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're not familiar, I would definitely encourage you to check out some.
No, I know that. Yeah, I might have to, man. That's crazy. Damn, man. This is a fire conversation that we just looked around and nerded out. Like I wasn't even really looking at the notes and the topic points. I just was going off the flow. Like, all right, but like I had my idea of what I wanted to ask and everything. But yeah, man, I knew I was gonna get to it, but we're gonna just nerd out and just get to going about this shit, man. But definitely appreciate it, of course. Like I'd never go this long with a podcast. Like
I appreciate that, bro.
It's been a while, but like when you know what I'm saying, when we got the right on, I knew I'm like this familiar territory. We going there. Yeah, man. So in the meantime, let the people know they can find you at your website, you know, social media, of course.
Just Hir-O Beats, HIROBEATS on 313 on Instagram, Hir-O Beats on Twitter, and just HIR-O on Google. And there's some shit. Me and Noveliss got some shit. Me and Isaac Castor got some shit. I'm working on something that might turn into something. I don't know what it is, but I got some. I got some people. I might be hitting you up later as well to see if you might have something. I don't really know if I want to do a lot of instrumental joints anymore. Like I've done a lot of those. I kind of if I'm making new music, I want to get MCs on there, bro. So
for sure,
I'm not calling it a project yet. It's just some art that's gathering, and we'll see what happens with it.
I like it. Okay, and same with me. Y'all know where to find me. Nametag Alexander across all platforms, social media. Where you stream and download music, of course, Bandcamp specifically, as well as Even. Until next time, it's been episode 61 of A Name Tag is Necessary. Peace.